Hi, this is Ria, and welcome to the Reflection Practice. This is a place where we slow down, we pause, and we reflect on the questions that shape our lives. So before we reflect, let's arrive here, right now. So let's all take a deep breath in. So let's go inhale. And then exhale. So the question I want to start with today is, imagine, what if you've been playing a game really well, but you never chose the game? And I've been thinking about this recently while I was looking through old photos. I was clearing up some things and actually making an album. Like literally, this is like 20 years in the making. And it was around, all these photos were around a particular chapter of my life, from like a little bit of high school, a little bit of college. So they're all kind of like random photos. And it got me thinking about how much we call our choices our own choices, or are they inherited? So like, in this time period, I went to I don't know if you listen to my other work, I went to a very academic high school. And even before that, in my family, it's been emphasized education and that, to go to college. So even in elementary school, I was concerned and worried about my college application. And one of the things that I did was Model United Nations. I don't know if this even exists anymore. And the topic I had was globalization. And that topic of globalization also kind of came up again in my college years through a paper that my friend wrote that I thought was pretty interesting with international relations. So anyway, this whole time, in this whole period, is like, what is success? And it also got me thinking about the invisible programs that are running in the background. Like, so for example, my whole thing about the college application, right? So it's kind of like, go to school, do well, and like for me, my family, was like, going to college, that wasn't even like a choice, it was like a mandatory thing. So get into not just even any college, but get into the best one that you can get into, go to a prestigious school, get the best job. But my family's case is like, become a doctor, and then but because you help people, but at the same time make money, because maybe that's really what you want to say, but you also get to help people. So anyway, so it's also about like being, and that was the definition of success. And then at some point you would be like, okay, you've done all those things and now you've made it. And by making it, you are successful, are happy, everything in your life should be great. And then, for a long time, especially high school to college and all that, I was following that program. I mean, literally running the race, that kind of thing. Like, those programs were running in the background always. And that's the funny thing. It's like about the whole idea of a race, and like even the phrase a rat race. Like, we talk about it like, oh, like it's this terrible thing and we're just like trapped, we're just mice and we don't have a choice and we're just trapped in there. But just thinking about that, and maybe the harder question is, maybe not per se the rat race, but like, who told me this was even the race I was supposed to be running in the first place? Right? Like, why am I even in there? Why am I even doing this? Because I can remember even choosing investment banking, right? This is post-college, my first job, my career. And at the time I was like, I felt like it was like a choice. Like, I majored in business. I didn't do biology, to be a doctor, but I did pre-med kind of as a backup. So it's kind of like I was one foot in, one foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door, or whatever it is, 2 feet in two different worlds. Anyway, that wasn't me. So, it's almost like, I had a rebellion against one version of success, right? And then I looked around and then I thought, okay, if I'm not going to do that, like go into medicine per se, then what is this thing that's going to give me the most money? So it's just like I just went from one program to the other and thinking that it was like a real choice. And at the time, investment banking seemed like a pretty obvious answer. My parents didn't even know what it was. They were suspicious about it. So that was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it and I'm going to show you. So then I went for it. And here's like what's interesting to me now is that, was that actually freedom? Like making that choice? I mean, it was out of my own free will at the time. Or was it just that I was choosing a different lane in the same race? Right? Like kind of in a monopoly. Like you choose your little piece to go around the board. But you're still going around. But anyway, I rejected a prescribed path and then I went to another one. But I didn't necessarily stop to think of, well, did I even want to be in this race at all? Like, do I even want to continue going around, collect, pass go, get $200? And that's also kind of where this metaphor also kind of came about. Like, for example, a lot of my life, I went to Vegas a lot growing up. So imagine you're sitting in a casino and someone tells you you're playing this game and you just have to deal, right? You're playing the hand that you're dealt. And that's kind of even a phrase that people say. So you learn how to play, right? You become really strategic. You know about your cards, you know about the odds of the other cards, you know the rules, you study the game, and over time you learn how to maximize your own cards that you're dealt with your own odds, right? You become really, really, really good at getting the best possible outcome from the cards that you actually have. And hey, maybe you even win. Maybe your chips, they continue to pile high. But then, maybe also at the same time, eventually you start to ask yourself, hey, hello, why am I even in the casino? Like, really? Because there's a difference between being really good at playing the hand you've been given versus actually deciding whether you want to be sitting at that table. Is this the game that you want to play? And I think that's the distinction I've been sitting with. Because we're often taught to optimize the career, optimize certain relationships, optimize the money, optimization, become efficient, the next move, optimize your version of yourself that would be most successful. And sometimes I wonder if the deeper question is not how do I get better at this, but maybe it's really, do I really actually want this? And that kind of question can be surprisingly uncomfortable, because once you ask it, you can't necessarily unask it, right? And you start looking at your life maybe in a different way. You start wondering things that you've been pursuing and wondering, did I choose this? Or did I inherit this? Did I want this? Or did I want the approval that came with it? Was I moving towards something? Or was I moving away from something? Right? Like, was I creating a life? Or was I just getting really good at completing the next level? And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with ambition. I don't think there's anything wrong with money, of course. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a prestigious career or wanting to be successful. Those are all like fantastic, great, wonderful things. But the question is much more personal than that. It's more like, is this what I want? Is this actually mine? Because there are so many programs that get installed in us before we're old enough to even question them. Like big ideas, family, school, love, culture, friends, society, all these external factors, and the definition of success that surrounds us. And then one day we wake up and realize and like, wait, hold on, wait a second. I've been running. I've been achieving. I've been making decisions. But did I ever stop to ask where I was going? So I want to actually pause here. not just talk about reflection, let's actually practice it for just a little bit. So wherever you are, let's arrive here once again for a moment. So let's all take another deep breath. So let's inhale. And then exhale. And just allow yourself to slow down and notice what's going on inside. There's no fixing, no figuring it out, no trying to come up with the perfect answer, no performing. Just notice what comes up when I ask you this. What is one part of my life that I may be very good at playing, but I'm no longer sure I actually chose? Just notice. Maybe something comes up immediately. Maybe nothing does. Maybe it's more of a feeling. Maybe it's in your body and you don't have words for it. For me, I feel it in my body. I feel like a resistance, a tension, especially like neck, shoulders, lower abdomen. Maybe you're getting a message. Maybe your inner guidance is telling you something. And I'm sitting with a question too. This isn't me standing outside of the practice giving you the answers. I'm in it with you. So, I was just talking about the investment banking chapter of my life. And I could feel the difference between the story I used to tell myself about that choice. And the questions I can ask about it now. What was I actually choosing? What was I rebelling against? What was I trying to prove? And to whom? And why? And underneath it all, what did I generally want? And I think that's where the reflection practice becomes powerful. Not because we're supposed to go back and judge every decision we ever made from, whenever, but because sometimes we need enough distance from our own lives to see a difference between a choice and a program, between playing the hand, and choosing the table, between running the race and asking whether it's your race. And maybe that's the reflection for today. It's not what should I do next, but simply, is this the game? Actually, is it mine? And if the answer is no, you don't have to blow up your life tomorrow. You don't have to quit your job. You don't have to make some dramatic declaration or anything like that. Sometimes the first act of freedom is much quieter. It's just noticing, oh, I've been playing this game. And maybe for the first time, I'm actually looking at the table. And if this reflection resonated with you, I'm also opening up the doors to my first reflection circle on August 27th, like it's just around the corner, guys. It's just going to be a very small space where we can take these questions out of the abstract and explore them together. So we'll slow down, reflect, and listen to what we already know underneath all the noise. Because sometimes we don't need another person to tell us what our answer is. We need enough space to hear our own. So if you feel called to join us, you'll find the details down below in the link, description, all that stuff. And for now, just take that question with you. What game am I really playing? And did I ever choose it? So take gentle care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reflection. Bye for now.